Special counsel Robert Mueller has reportedly told President Trump's legal team that he's likely to ask for an in-person interview with the president as part of the now infamous Russia investigation. The president himself has said he's open to talking to Mueller face-to-face, but his attorneys, they want to avoid that since there is not much good that could come from being grilled in person. Even if he's done nothing wrong, Trump's lawyers would prefer to provide written answers, like an SAT test, or submit an affidavit. Something Mueller's team is very unlikely to accept. Last weekend, the president once again reiterated there was no collusion with Russians during the 2016 election. But could Mueller's team be looking for other charges? Joining me now, Republican Florida Congressman and candidate for governor in the Sunshine State, Congressman Ron DeSantis joins me once again. Welcome back, Congressman.
Hi, Kennedy.
Hi. So let's discuss this a little bit. If you were one of the president's lawyers, would you advise him not to speak with special counsel?
I would advise him not to speak with the special counsel. That's correct. I mean, for a number of reasons. One is this has been going on for a long time. Remember, Comey was investigating this for almost a year before Mueller was even appointed, and yet we don't have evidence of collusion. The charges that have been brought by Mueller either have nothing to do with the campaign, like Paul Manafort, or are process crimes where Flynn and Papadopoulos pled guilty to lying, and in some ways unfairly because they were lying about non-material facts. There was no underlying crime in anything that they did. So that tells me that if he were to talk, he would be putting himself in jeopardy of being pursued for a process offense, not an underlying offense. And so
that sort of process crime is very unlikely to come the president's way, of course, while he's a sitting president. And there are still questions as to whether or not the president can be charged with a crime like that. So let's discuss this. What happens if the president's lawyers say, you know what, we do not want to do a face-to-face interview. We will only submit written answers to your questions. And if the Office of the Special Counsel says we're not going to do that and they issue a subpoena, what does the president do then?
Well, I think that creates constitutional concerns, Kennedy. I mean, it'd be one thing to just subpoena somebody in normal civilian life, but the president is the superior to Mueller and everybody at the Department of Justice. So I think it raises separation of powers concerns. That's one of the reasons I think you're right that DOJ has always said sitting president can't be indicted because of the separation of powers. Now, if you think the president's done something wrong or abused his authority, the proper remedy for that under the Constitution is a political remedy. A lot of Democrats want to pursue that impeachment. I don't think there's grounds for that, but that's the way the system works. And so I was opposed to appointing Mueller in the beginning because I didn't see the underlying crime. And then now to haul the president in with a subpoena to say, why did you fire Comey? It's like, you're an inferior officer in the executive branch. You go get 270 electoral votes, and then you can make a different decision about Comey.
What about some of the other tougher questions surrounding that? Like, why did you tell Lester Holt that you fired Comey because of the Russia investigation? Why did you tweet that part of the reason that Flynn was relieved of duty was because of the Russia investigation, in addition to lying to Vice President Pence? And as you've seen in some of the media interviews that the president has done, when people lay a trap for him and he gets defensive, that's when he gets into trouble.
So I think when he said that about Russia, I don't think that he was saying necessarily shut it down. In fact, he didn't shut it down. It kept going on. I think he was really upset at Comey for telling him privately, hey, you're not under investigation, you're not under investigation, and then testifying publicly, I can confirm that we're doing a counterintelligence investigation with Trump campaign people, and then feeding speculation. And the media certainly treated it that Trump was under investigation. So I think he thought that that put an unfair cloud over his presidency. It was distracting him from doing his job. So I think that's what he means. But I'll tell you what, Kennedy, at the time...
Those are the types of things they're going to want clarification on. And those are the types of things that prosecutors are well versed in rooting out, better than journalists like Lester Holt, who are, historically not very good at asking follow-up questions. So what do you think the president and his legal team is going to do here?
I think that they should steer as far away from this as possible. Make them produce the evidence. I mean, where's the evidence? And it's the type of thing where to have somebody in DOJ reviewing the president's decision and even justification, because he doesn't have to have a justification to fire the FBI director. That is not the way this works constitutionally. So I think it creates some issues. But one thing I think that we now know that we didn't know at the time is he always said the Russia thing was not on the up and up. We've now got all the documents coming in. We're going to get the truth about the dossier. We're going to get the truth about Bruce Orr. We're going to get the truth about Peter Strzok. And I can tell you, everything that's come out so far does not look good about the credibility of that investigation. And I think it lends credence to the president saying that this thing is a joke and we need to move on.
All right, well, we'll see what happens. I think the fastest way to do that is for the president to actually sit down. I think that's the only way this investigation ends. Unfortunately for him, he's in a very difficult position. But if he wants to see this thing wrapped up, I think sitting for that interview is really the only way to do it. Congressman, thank you so much.